Hello Red Devils fans. Paul Pogba, in talks for shock move as KSI drops transfer hint on next club. Paul Pogba is yet to sign with a new club, since his suspension reached its conclusion earlier this year and KSI has said the ex-Manchester United star could turn up in the Baller League. KSI has suggested Paul Pogba is in talks about a stint in the Baller League. The YouTuber has tipped the former Manchester United midfielder to make an appearance for the struggling N5 team, named after the postcode where his favorite team Arsenal play. League president KSI was asked to name who he would pick as a wild-card signing during coverage of Monday night's action at the Copper Box Arena in Stratford, London. And with a smile on his face, KSI said, "Oh, Pogba. He's a free agent. We do follow each other on socials and we are in talks." Then asked which team he thinks would be best suited to the France star, who has not signed for a club since returning from a drugs ban, KSI said N5, which is managed by the former Arsenal stars Robert Pires, Freddie Ljungberg and Jens Lehmann. "It depends on who he wants, but I feel like a player of that caliber would have to play for like an N5, a team that is at the bottom," he said. Pogba, 32, has not played professionally since September 2023. In February of last year, he was handed a 4-year suspension after a drugs test showed increased levels of testosterone. The World Cup winner insisted he would never knowingly or deliberately dope and later had the ban reduced upon a successful appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sport. However, he is yet to sign with a new club since being cleared to return earlier this year despite being linked with a host of clubs, including in the Saudi Pro League and Major League Soccer. Talk of a third stint at Manchester United was swiftly shut down with the latest speculation linking him with a move to DC United. The Baller League is an indoor six-a-side competition running every Monday until June featuring a host of celebrities and former players. Matches comprise of two 15-minute halves with players paid £400 per appearance. John Terry, Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer and Micah Richards are among the other footballing legends signed up for management and coaching roles. Truth behind Marcus Rashford to Man City claims as Man United star eyes dream move. Manchester United star Marcus Rashford is expected to leave the club at the end of the season, but the England international's next destination is far from certain. Marcus Rashford's brother and agent Dwayne Maynard was spotted near Manchester City's transfer chiefs during City's recent victory over Aston Villa. However, the England international is still believed to favor a move to Barcelona. Rashford, 27, has impressed while on loan at Villa Park. He remains likely to leave parent club United on a permanent basis in the summer but remains determined to play Champions League football. That is something he managed this season, with Villa reaching the quarter-finals of the competition and suffering a narrow defeat to Paris Saint-Germain. They face an uphill battle to return, though, with that loss away to City leaving them 3 points outside the top 5 with just 4 matches remaining. Rashford scored from the penalty spot at the Etihad Stadium with the first half goal bringing Villa level. The scores remained tied until deep into stoppage time when Matheus Nunes delivered a dramatic late winner for the hosts. According to the Mail, Maynard's presence a stone's throw from outgoing City transfer chief Siki Begiristain and his successor Hugo Viana doesn't necessarily mean a deal for Rashford is imminent. The same publication reports that Rashford himself, who has been a United player since the age of 7, has shown no signs of preferring a move to his boyhood club's rivals. Rashford is set to miss the remainder of the season through injury, but a decision will need to be made in the summer. Villa have an option to buy him for £40 million, but he is understood to favor a Barcelona switch. Barcelona remains a dream destination for the forward, who is not believed to be interested in a move to a London club. His wages of £350,000 per week remain a potential stumbling block, though he is said to be willing to take a pay cut if it means a move to Barcelona can materialize. Rashford was unavailable for Villa's FA Cup semi-final against Crystal Palace on Saturday. Unai Emery's team were beaten 3-0 with their manager providing an update on the loanee. "He's injured. He got injured this week and Friday. We did a test," Emery said. "It's his hamstring. We are going to try to test him each match, but he's injured and probably some weeks he won't be available." United and Villa are in talks over an early Old Trafford return for the forward. The teams are due to meet on the final weekend of the season, though Premier League loan rules would not permit Rashford to play against his parent club even if he were fit. Villa's 3 other remaining matches see them face Fulham, Bournemouth and Tottenham Hotspur. Villa have rejected an approach from Spurs to change the date of the match with the London side after extra time to prepare in the event they reach the final. David De Gea will be talked about again ahead of Manchester United versus Athletic Bilbao. Man United have a poor record against Spanish opposition in Europe and will play Athletic Bilbao on Thursday night. David De Gea was a fine servant for Manchester United and deserves a testimonial game. De Gea was the world's best goalkeeper for a spell, but his last season was error-strewn and his performances against Sevilla in the Europa League and Manchester City in the FA Cup final ended him at United. The Spaniards' display against Sevilla was lamentable. De Gea conceded within 10 minutes, playing a pass short when he should have gone long, and his second error was embarrassing. De Gea misjudged Sevilla's speculative punt forward and seemed to forget how to kick a ball, botching the clearance which allowed Youssef En-Nesyri to slot into an open goal to make it 3-0. United were second best in every area at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium on that evening, but De Gea made the headlines and even newspapers in his homeland slammed his display. Sevilla was the straw that broke the camel's back in regards to De Gea's future at United, and then the FA Cup final happened, so he was let go upon the expiry of his contract that summer. Andre Onana was identified as the ideal successor and was signed from Inter Milan. Onana was supposed to be an upgrade on De Gea, someone with elite distribution who could have a transformational impact on the team's build-up play, but Onana's highlight reel of errors could rival De Gea's from his last few seasons at United. There were doubts around De Gea before the Europa League quarter-final tie against Sevilla in April 2023. The same doubts exist about Onana heading into the semi-final Athletic Bilbao tie. Onana was at fault in the quarter-final first leg against Lyon, and he survived a few uncertain days in which he didn't know whether he would be recalled for the second leg at Old Trafford. Although Erik ten Hag did not consider dropping De Gea in 2022/2023, there was a decision to be made on his future, and his performances at the business end of the campaign made it a simple decision to make. The feeling was that the can could be kicked down the road regarding Onana's future, as other positions are the priority to be strengthened, but some fans want to see him replaced. Onana's name was chanted by United's travelling supporters for the first time against Ipswich Town at Portman Road on November 24th, but fan opinion has shifted in the opposite direction. After a great start to the season, mistakes have crept back into Onana's game, and his performances in the home stretch of the campaign could decide whether he is still at United next term. There have been murmurs of interest from Saudi Arabia in Onana, but he is likely to retain his number one position if he ends the season without making any mistakes in the Europa League. De Gea crumbled at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium, and the Estadio de San Mamés will be similarly. Sir Jim Ratcliffe tearing heart and soul out of Man United with latest decision. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has not been afraid of making brutal decisions as he attempts to get Manchester United back on track, and the Ineos boss is set to wield the axe yet again. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is set to axe a long-serving official with his latest round of Manchester United cuts. The Ineos owner has made hundreds of staff redundant at the club as he attempts to cut the Red Devils' costs. United have already cut 450 members of staff during Ratcliffe's tenure, while he also ended Sir Alex Ferguson's ambassadorial role. And his cost-cutting does not look like ending anytime soon. As per Mail Online, a further 200 members of staff are in danger of being axed, and that amount includes a host of long-serving individuals. It is suggested that one member of management staff has been told that they are under threat of losing their role despite having only been promoted to the senior leadership team recently. Meanwhile, another member of long-serving staff is also under threat of being axed. It is said that the individual is a well-respected figure across the industry, with it being reported they bring huge value and experience. United sources have suggested that the decision over their role is still provisional. Elsewhere, the club's scouting department has been hit hard, with Director of Scouting Steve Brown leaving Old Trafford after 9 years. It is suggested that staff are concerned that Ratcliffe is in danger of tearing the heart and soul out of the club, with respected members of staff being told to leave. Legendary former forward Eric Cantona publicly criticized the 72-year-old for his brutal approach when it comes to redundancies. Speaking with The Guardian, the Frenchman said, "Since Ratcliffe arrived this season of directors try to destroy everything, and they don't respect anybody. They even want to change the stadium. The soul of the team and the club is not in the players. All the people around is like a big family." He added, "I think it's important to respect these people like you respect your manager and teammates." Since Ratcliffe arrived, it's the complete opposite. He doesn't want Sir Alex Ferguson as an ambassador anymore. He is more than a legend, and I think we have to find the soul again. But Ratcliffe has defended his cost-cutting, claiming that the club would have gone under by the end of this year had he not intervened. Speaking to the BBC, he said Manchester United would have run out of cash by the end of this year, by the end of 2025, after having me put $300 million, £232.72 million in, and if we buy no new players in the summer. We are in the process of change, and it's an uncomfortable period and disruptive, and I do feel sympathy with the fans. The simple answer is the club runs out of money at Christmas if we don't do those things.